Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside TK Tommy Chrysan here with you on this dreary Wednesday morning in Baton Rouge. Looks like the beginning of the movie Wizard of Oz outside. But we're fine. We're fine. We're hunkered down. I'll run to the bathroom if something rattles around outside. TK over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, where just like Tiger Stadium, it never rains at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. So you can stop by there. You won't get wet, I promise you, as you go into the store on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. And, of course, our title sponsor and presenting sponsor for everything we do on Sports Shorts is LaBerge Casino. LaBerge Casino, where this weekend they're going to have a Bruno Mars tribute band performing on Friday and Saturday night inside the Edge Lounge. Now, I've seen hundreds of concerts in my lifetime. I'm a big music fan. There's not many people I have not seen that I really, really want to see that are alive, and there's still an option to see. But Bruno Mars is one of them. So while I'm waiting to see Bruno Mars, you can go check out the Bruno Mars tribute cover band that's performing this Friday and Saturday night. They are fantastic. They actually performed at Edge Lounge at LaBerge like opening night. They're not from Louisiana. They're from out of state. You need to go check them out. I think they take the stage at 10 o'clock on Friday and Saturday night over at LaBerge Casino. All right, TK. So today, a lot of hoops talk. The Pels put up a record 153 points last night in a big win. I was in the blender. I'll tell you about it. LSU, South Carolina, Thursday night. PMAX sold out. Everybody's selling tickets, looking for tickets. LSU, Georgia men's. Tigers trying to get back on the winning side. They are 3-2 through their first 5 of 18 games in SEC play. They are 3.5-point favorite tonight at Georgia. We know who the offensive coordinator is going to be. It's going to be Joe Sloan and Cortez Hankton, co-coordinators. Tommy's got some thoughts on that. And, oh, by the way, before you just say, I don't like co-coordinators, because really, who does? LSU won a national championship the last time they had co-offensive coordinators in 2019. Casey McKenzie lost a bet last night to me. I'll tell you about that. LSU baseball starts on Friday, and we've got 3 brand new Hall of Famers and 1 almost Hall of Famer. Billy Wagner just missed being a Hall of Famer, but Joe Mauer, the former catcher for the Twins, all 15 years of his career. Todd Helton, the former quarterback of the Tennessee Vols, who was a great player with the Colorado Rockies. And Adrian Beltre, who played with a number of teams, but mostly remembered as a Texas Ranger, gets in at third base with a lot of votes. Surprised at how Adrian Beltre was just a slam dunk. Not that he didn't deserve it, but he had 95% of the votes, of the ballots, rather, voted on him. Let's bring in TK, Tommy Chrysan. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to go first?
I don't know, Roddy. I'm gonna go Hall of Fame. Being a baseball guy, big Rangers fan, as everybody knows, and saw Adrian Beltre play a lot this last bunch of years with the Rangers, and this guy, the batting, the defense, the Gold Glove awards, the longevity. I mean, this guy's a Hall of Famer, no question about it. I had no doubt he would be elected. Joe Mauer, a lot of talk that he played, second half of his career at first base, DH, but he won batting titles. He was a pretty good defensive catcher. The whole thing was, is he a catcher like Pudge Rodriguez and Johnny Bench? No, he's not. Okay, but in the modern times, he was. Now, should he have got in on the first ballot? That's a whole other discussion. I don't know, but he got in. Todd Helton, on his 6th year of eligibility, gets in. That's a sticking point I have. First, let me say this. The system that they elect people to the Baseball Hall of Fame is an antique system. It's like 8-track tapes and cassettes. Get rid of it. CDs. It doesn't work anymore. It's a good idea at one time. It's not a good idea anymore. They got to change it. But it's the Baseball Writers Association that elects the Hall of Fame. It's nothing to do with MLB. It's the baseball writers. And there's some old timers on there, some new people, whatever it is. It's like the age-old argument that comes up every year. Todd Helton, in his 6th year of eligibility, got into the Hall of Fame. His stats didn't change since his 5th year of eligibility, 4th year, blah, blah, blah. I don't get all of that. And then they want to rip him for playing at Coors Field. I go back to tennis great Roger Federer. We beat somebody in the early rounds of Wimbledon. He said, well, you beat this bad guy. Roger Federer's famous quote was, I can only play who's on the other side of the net. Okay? Todd Helton could only play in the stadium for the team he had a contract with. And if it was Colorado, it was Colorado. Now, his numbers did go down a little bit after they put the baseballs in the humidor out at Colorado. So, but it's an argument. It's a discussion. I think Todd Helton's worthy of being a Hall of Famer. Joe Mauer and this whole first ballot, second ballot thing, again, that should really change because you would eliminate a lot of conversation. Billy Wagner just misses a couple of 5 votes. 5 votes kept him out. So that's my whole point is 5 votes is the difference of him being a Hall of Famer or not. And then, all the steroid guys, which is a joke because they let Ortiz in and he used steroids. And Gary Sheffield, who I think should be a Hall of Famer, used that cream thing with Bonds one off season when they worked out. So he's kind of labeled with that now. Sheffield's numbers are Hall of Fame, no doubt about it. Okay, he was a feared hitter. Pitchers did not like throwing to Gary Sheffield, I can promise you. And if you let Ortiz in, you should let them all in, from Roger Clemens to Pettit to McGuire and Sosa and Bonds. Let them all in once you let Ortiz in. That's my opinion. But hey, I'm happy for Beltre, Mauer, and Helton. Jim Leland was a Veterans Committee pick, longtime manager. Who had some world titles and was a long-time guy. And one of those players managers. Everybody liked Jim Leland, and he had great baseball knowledge. So I'll look forward to this summer. I will watch Beltre's speech when he goes into the Hall of Fame, because he's on that top 10 list of my favorite players of all time.
For those that don't remember, Joe Mauer, I mean, if you're from down here, you're not probably a Minnesota Twins fan, but Joe Mauer, a rare breed, 6'5" catcher. That's the thing that always stood out for me. 6'5" catcher who didn't hit with power. Had like 150 homers or something for 15 years in the big leagues. It was a heck of a catcher, a really good hitter, a lifetime over 300 hitter. But you just don't see a lot of 6'5" catchers. Usually it's the shorter guys.
Well, he also was a commitment or signee with Florida State football as a quarterback.
Right. Quarterback.
And there are those who think had he took the football route, there was a chance to be a Hall of Famer in football. Certainly a great player for a long time. Just an incredible athlete. He's from Minnesota. And when he came out of high school, football, baseball, like a lot of guys had that choice, including Todd Helton. But yet, obviously I think he picked the right one because a tremendous career with the Twins. And many years when the Twins weren't real good, I did see him play. I saw him get a hit in Texas years ago when they were playing the Rangers. I was at the game when he got a hit, base hit up the middle, just that sweet left-handed swing, kind of like our buddy Will Clark's swing in a way. But so I was anxious for yesterday at 5:00 when they announced who got in, and everybody figured Beltre, weren't sure about Helton, and they thought Mauer, and that's the way it shook out.
July 21st is when they'll have the Hall of Fame induction up in Cooperstown with Mauer, Helton, Beltre. You mentioned football. Todd Helton, of course, started in front of Peyton Manning at one point at Tennessee. There's a couple of highlights of him slinging the lefty. People that are dual sport athletes like Mauer, like Helton, and others usually pick baseball because of the longevity, the fact that you don't get as hurt, you can play longer, make more money. Well, and these two guys are the reason why they didn't play football and they played baseball. And of course, Adrian Beltre and as well. All right, we move on. Speaking of LSU baseball, just a little side note: the Tigers will be starting to take flight officially on Friday. It's when practices, scrimmages, all that sort of thing will begin for LSU baseball. And they've been working out individually and in little small groups and abiding by all the NCAA rules that they have, but they will start full practice with all 40 guys and all that together at once and scrimmaging and everything on Friday. You might be able to sneak out there and get in. They don't open the practices every time as much as they used to. I hate that. I mean, that's like the more popular LSU baseball's gotten, the more famous they've gotten thanks to social media and all that, the less access. It used to be for 40 years. I mean, for the history of LSU, you could just walk out there and watch practice. Didn't matter when Todd Walker was playing, Brad Cressy was playing, Aaron Hill, the Nola brothers, didn't matter, just go. Now you go, the gates are locked and they open them sometimes, not all the time.
Well, I have a way to get in, Ronnie. I've called Coach Burton and say, Coach, you need a ride to the box today? And, of course, he'll say, yeah, because he doesn't like to drive. So I think if I'm bringing Coach Burton, they're going to
You
let me
think
in.
he
I
might
think
have a
I'm
pass?
pretty
Huh?
confident in that.
Yeah.
That Coach Burton will say, yeah, man, TK's got to come in with me.
Last night, the Pels put up 153 points in regulation, no overtime, 153 points. And the irony of ironies is they score 153 points, franchise record for regulation. And Casey McKenzie lost the bet on over-under points for Zion Williamson. The over-under for Zion was like 22 and a half or 23 and a half, and Zion was way under. He had a double-double. He had, 10-plus assists. He had a big night. They won. He looked good, but he didn't have a big night offensively, which you'd think if they scored 153 points and he's healthy and plays that he's got 30 probably. Well, no, that was not the case. But the Pels look really good against the Utah Jazz, which continues to be the most bizarre logo and mascot in all of sports. Why they still call the Utah Jazz is beyond me. Change the freaking name. Other teams have done it. Why not? Why won't they do it? But hey, the Pels right now, man, are rolling. This year in the NBA. It's so much offense. I mean, there's just so much lack of defense. Everything's a fast break. We saw Embiid for the Philadelphia 76ers have 70 points the other night. We saw multiple guys have 50-plus points just this week. It's incredible what's going on. One side says this is the great era of basketball, the offense, and everybody's scoring, and the athleticism is through the roof. Every alley-oop slam dunk is amazing, and then others are saying, wait a minute, this is not how the game's supposed to be played. Where are you?
Well, I'm not a big NBA fan. I do try to pay attention to the Pelicans a little bit. But no, it's long defense went out the window a long time ago in the NBA, except in crunch time at the end of the season or in the playoffs. They tend to try to play a little defense. They'll try to make it look like that. But in late January, they're not going to play defense. And then guys make money when they score points. You don't get paid for being a good defensive player. So it's almost like an unwritten rule, like, hey, we'll let you have that shot because you need to get points, and then we're going to get the shot off on the other end because we all want big contracts, which they all have. Even the guys making way less than everybody else in the league are making money that we could only dream of. So it's all about offense, scoring points. Like in baseball, chicks dig the long ball. In the NBA, you want to see points.
The average salary in the NBA, Tommy, what do you think it is without Googling it?
Wow.
This year,
I'm going to say the average salary is $10 million.
9.7.
That's a good guess. That's a pure guess. So
9.7. I mean, incredible.
I'll put a star on my collar for that one. That was a good guess. So that's like the guy who's the 12th guy on the bench on the Pistons. He's probably below that number, but the average.
It's the average salary. Yeah. It's Southeastern. They didn't. The guy, the high and the low.
I skipped class that day.
No, but I mean that's just insane, man. $9.7 million the average salary. Billy Donovan, the old Florida coach who led them to national championships and then coached in the NBA. They had a clip on social media that was going around from a talk he gave a few years ago, a little Q&A session. And he said 95% of the game of basketball is played without the ball. When you're on the court, 95% of the time you don't have the ball in your hands. But yet players focus all, so much of their time in the 5% of the game, which at some point, you're shooting it. He's like, why don't you control what you can control? 95% of the game, you can pretty much control that part, effort and technique and strategy and all that kind of stuff, how you play defense and where you cut without the ball and all those things. But yet players don't focus on that. They focus on just the 5% that they don't have total control over.
Well, one of my favorite NBA players of all time, Larry Bird, had a famous quote. He says, what you do when you don't have the ball that makes you a great player. Because again, you're going to have it 5% of the time, some guys less than that. So what you do in that other percent of the time, like you said, Ryan, cutting or getting open or boxing out or, coming off that screen, that's what makes you a great player. That other 95% of the time, as opposed to, the Pelicans had 6 guys double digits last night scoring. but they still had the ball for less than 5% of the time.
Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton, Sloan the QB coach, Hankton the wide receiver coach. They are promoted to co-offensive coordinators for LSU this year. I would just love to know the true Hollywood story. Is this a product of, they couldn't get the people they wanted, or did they really think, oh, this is what's best, or this is what's going to keep players from transferring? I would love to know the backstory on it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out. And the co-coordinator thing, my first reaction is, "Ooh, why not make one person?" Hey, if Brian Kelly thinks that's what's best, to have a different role, but then they did say Sloan would be the primary play caller. So hey, we'll see. Time will tell. Let it play out, like you like to say. And if it doesn't work and the offense stinks next year, then all even will come up. They should have one guy. But if it's working good, and Ronnie, I kind of forgot about the point you made earlier in the show. In 2019, they were co-offensive coordinators, and they had the greatest offense in the history of college football.
One of the more famous co-coordinators that did not work was the Bradley Dale Pivito when he was a co-coordinator defensively for the Tigers
Mallory
15 years ago or something like that. Usually they don't work very well, but we shall see. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. I would have thought after winning the Heisman Trophy and with the weapons that they have back and with a quarterback that they have back that that's shown that he can do it, that they would be able to go get somebody they want. Who knows how much Nussmeier maybe said, "Hey, I work well with Joe Sloan. I'm lobbied on his behalf. I work well with Cortez Hankton." So it may be about keeping him happy too. LSU men's and women's hoops, big week for the Tigers. I mean, you're going to kind of find out tonight about LSU men's basketball, I think, about how real they are. They find themselves a 3.5-point favorite on the road against Georgia.
No, they're an underdog.
Yeah, 3.5-point underdog. I meant that. Said it wrong. But to me, they're a little bit of fool's gold. I'm just more I watched them for 2 months be trash, and then all of a sudden they for 2 weeks they're pretty good. Where are they? What team is this? Can they bounce back from only scoring 4 points in the last 6.5 minutes and losing that game, blowing a lead to Texas A&M down the stretch? Can they go on the road to Georgia, get back in the winning column, and get the 4-2, and then all right. Well, that was just a little stumble. We're all right. Or, did they just overshoot and just play with a lot of energy for the first couple of weeks, and then that's it? Remember last year LSU won 2 basketball games out of 18. They went 2-16 in the SEC. The first one was against a top 10 ranked Arkansas team at home. They win that, and then they were trashed the rest of the way. So sometimes teams can just kind of pop up, have energy for a week and a half, and play over their skis a little bit, and then reality sets in. I'm curious to see where LSU's men's basketball team on this is on this one. Did you see, Tommy, the finish to the McNeese game the other night?
I did see the highlights. Wow. They ranked for the first time in program history. Unbelievable.
So McNeese,
I guess a very good team too. That's a team that McNeese hadn't beaten in a long time, and one of the better teams basketball in the Southland Conference. So it's not like it was a comeback against a team they shouldn't have been behind on. This was a huge win for Will Wade.
So Will Wade's McNeese State Cowboy team ranked now in the top 25, and McNeese State Cowboys had won 12 in a row. 11 in a row. And now they've won 12 in a row. And they won on a buzzer beater. They were on the road. I'm trying to look it up. I want to make sure it was one of the Texas teams.
Corpus Christi.
It was Corpus Christi. Okay. So they were on the road against Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Southland Conference team. They were down 18 in the second half, trailing by 18 in the second half. And then they ended up down 1, 3 seconds to play, second free throw of, with a chance to tie. He hits the front end of the rim. It bounces forward. A Corpus Christi guy's got it, bobbles it. McNeese guy's got it, lays it up, misses, and then a tip in by a McNeese player at the buzzer. They reviewed it. It was clearly good. And McNeese escapes with an 18-point come from behind victory. to win their 12th in a row and continue to be. I don't know if they're the story of the country, but they're the second. If they're not the best, they're the second best story in the United States this year in basketball.
It's got to be up there, and it's great for Lake Charles. I mean, heck, they're adding a team to the Texas Collegiate League, and now they got the basketball team rocking and rolling. So it's a good time to be. Football didn't go so well for the Cowboys, but it's a good time right now with the basketball team. And, of course, the Gumbo Gators in the Texas Collegiate League this summer, who, by the way, the Rougarou opened up with them in Baton Rouge. That's going to be fun. I can't wait. But anyway, no, Will Wade, everybody knew he could coach. You know, we know about the video or the audio tape. Hey, it is what it is. He's going to be somewhere else soon, I do believe.
McNeese 6-0 in the Southland Conference, 17-2 overall, won 12 in a row. A&M, Corpus Christi, Lamar, and Nichols are all 4-2 in the conference. But look, I mean, 17-2. Can they go undefeated in the conference? It would be an amazing story. There is no chance in my mind that Will Wade will be back there next year at McNeese. I think in this day and age, with NIL and recruiting and transfer portal and all that kind of stuff, it's an afterthought about Will Wade 5 years ago on an audio tape saying, damn strong offer. He didn't say we offered him $857,000. He said, damn strong offer. So from that perspective, like, people don't have an appetite to care anymore. People don't have an appetite to feel like, oh, that was wrong. So I think Will Wade will be somewhere big time next year.
Well, I mean, Rick Pitino is still coaching. Bruce Pearl's still coaching. I mean, come on. We can make a long list. And, you know, somebody will pay him money next year that McNeese cannot afford to pay him. And it'll be a case of he left the program a whole lot better than he found it, which is something you want when you hire a coach, for him to improve the status of the program. Will Wade has clearly done that.
LSU men's and LSU women with arguably, I mean, it's the biggest game of the year, maybe the biggest game, regular season game in program history. Is that a stretch?
No, I don't think so, because you got ESPN Game Day making a special trip. Ticket prices are high, very high for women's basketball. Somebody posted a thing yesterday, said, well, Kim Mulkey told everybody 2 years ago, get your season tickets now, well, she was right with that forecast. So it's going to be great for LSU. It's going to be great for the women's program, great for women's basketball. They haven't beat South Carolina in a long time. South Carolina got beaten in semis by Iowa last year when everybody thought it would be a LSU South Carolina final. And South Carolina's program is elite, and we'll see what happens tomorrow night. They don't put out point spreads on women's basketball, at least not on my app. They don't do that on the score.
Well, they do, just not on your app.
Online. Yeah, and then there's a limit to bet if you're at a sports book. But, no, it's going to be a tremendous night for LSU, the exposure, the magnifying of the brand nationally. It's going to be on national TV, the game day crew is going to be all female. There's going to be no guy announcers. So I don't know about during the game, but the pregame thing is going to be all female cast. And it's going to be a big thing for women's basketball. More importantly, it's going to be great and big for LSU and their fans.
What did you think about Kim Mulkey yesterday at her radio show at TJ Ribs? How she made the comment to say, "Hey, when we win, do not rush the court. We're the not defending national champs. Blah 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 blah." That'll be used as bulletin board material over at South Carolina. Like, oh wow, they're already counting a win. I mean, they're already But what did you think about that?
Well, there was an incident at Iowa where the court got stormed and Caitlin Clark got knocked to the floor. She was not seriously hurt, but could have been. And look, and of course it sparked a lot of.
And there was another one that same day on the men's side where they rushed the court and ran over a player.
I would say this, okay? Grow up. Quit rushing the court. I think people that rush the court have never played sports. They don't understand. They don't get it. It's very dangerous to rush the court or the field for the players, the staff, the equipment managers, the trainers. It's dangerous when there's a mob of people, whether it's football game, basketball, whatever. And, I don't know, can LSU hire enough security guards to you can hire enough security guards to protect the goalpost so they don't tear it down in football. But you can't hire enough people to keep people off the court. I just think it has to become a grow-up thing. You and I are in the generation where you and I wouldn't rush the court no matter what, or the field, or you would? Ronnie, you saying you rush the court tomorrow? Okay,
I
you and
have
I different
rushed the
pages.
field numerous times, Tommy. I think it's one of
I'd
the.
be like, okay, see,
I've
I'm
never
older than
rushed a
you.
basketball court. I've never been at the PMAC or anything. I've never been
You
a part
rushed
of
Tiger
anything.
Stadium.
Oh, rush Tiger State.
But you were, wait. You were already on the sideline.
A couple times I jumped over.
Did you?
So in 19,
I would be like, hey, I'm going to the truck and heading home. These
yeah, I mean, you were a get off my lawn kind of guy. I mean, you were old when you were young. So in the early 90s, I was my brother and I went to the UL game when they beat Texas A&M at Cajun Field. We rushed the field. My brother actually helped carry.
What'd you do when you got there?
Just jumped around and ran around and, high-fived other people and, hey, we're on the field, but I mean, that was, Raging Cajuns, when Jake Delhomme, when they beat Texas A&M, they were ranked in the swamp and they tore down the goalpost, carried it down to the strip.
Yeah.
And then I jumped over the wall in 97 when LSU beat Florida, and they were number one. Tommy Banks and Herb Tyler.
You were 25 years old.
Yeah, but I mean, I ran onto the field numerous times. I was on the field sometimes already, but I went on the field. I know I went on the field at least one more time when I was a grown up at LSU when I wasn't on the sidelines. I remember I went there when didn't we rush I think we rushed the field. LSU fans rushed the field when they beat Tennessee. Rohan overtime against Tennessee, the touchdown pass to the tight end. Like, I think we rushed the field that night, and I wasn't on the sidelines.
So are you going to the basketball game tomorrow night?
I will be in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow for Washington, D.C.
If you were at the game tomorrow night, would you rush the court if they knocked off South Carolina?
No, because I'm not. Women's basketball doesn't move me to rush the court. I'd be excited. I'd give a fist pump. But as far as like, hey, we won a regular season basketball game. See, here's the difference. Basketball in the NBA, you play 82 games. You have 41 home games in NBA. The Saints have 8. They have 8 home games. 41, 8. So the games are more magnified. College football, LSU's going to have 7 home games next year? 7 home games, because one of them they're playing on the road. They're going to have 7 home games. The games are magnified, and only 4 of them are SEC games. So the games just mean more. They're more important. They make or break your season. The Pelicans would have lost last night to the Jazz. So what? They got another one Friday, at home. So it matters more. I mean, they're going to play Alabama every other year at home, whereas they're going to play the Lakers twice this year at home, So it's different.
Well, the NFL can hire a security guard every 3 yards. And that's why they don't rush the field in the NFL. But I don't know. I'm against the rush in the field thing. Get off the lawn, old guy here. But I just think it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And
the NFL too, Tommy, they're going to take your season tickets away if you rush the field. Now if everybody does it, but there's too many consequences at the NFL level.
They caught one of the guys who threw the snowball at Patrick Mahomes, and he's been banned from Buffalo Bills games the rest of his life.
Right.
Because they had a camera thing, they could zoom in, they identified it, row seat, and got people say, okay, that's so and so. He can never go to another Bills game, but that was dangerous throwing a snowball. And Mahomes, who had his helmet off when he ran off the field, that wasn't good thinking about Mahomes.
Tell us about Tremonti's on the way out.
Well, it's the last weekend for deer hunting. That ends February 1, so get your deer processed over here. Been a steady stream of people coming in to do that. They're one of the best in the business. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Deer processing, you got a little over a week. But the last big weekend is this coming weekend. Lasagna is the lunch special today. All the wine and liquor and everything you need. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. I want you to check it out.
All right. For Tommy Krysan, I am Ronnie Rance. Thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily. Please like and share this video. We will be back on Friday morning for more Sports Shorts Daily, and Saturday we'll be at LeBear's Casino at the Sportsbook from 10 to noon over at the Sportsbook. That you can listen to the show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. But don't forget, this weekend over at LeBear's at the Edge Lounge, Friday and Saturday night, 10 o'clock. Bruno Mars tribute band. They are fantastic. A lot of fun. Go check them out. All right, for Tommy and Ronnie, have a great one, everybody.